have in your relationships with other people that it is okay to utilize and use to your advantage. So, a little bit about myself, if y'all don't already know. I am Grant Cardone's wife. A lot of people know me as Grant Cardone's wife. I always make a joke when I introduce him that one day someone's going to come up to me and say, aren't you, no, they're going to go up to Grant and they're going to say, aren't you Elena Cardone's husband? And that's going to be a very happy day for me. But until that day, I'm very happy in my role. I love being the woman behind the man, beside the man, however you want to call it. It's truly an honor for me to see all the behind the scenes and to be able to support such an extremely powerful human being. And I would like to give you the definition of support, because if you do choose to support others, you should know what it means. And the definition of support, there's many of them, but the two that are my favorite, number one is bear the weight of. And that's not always easy, especially when you're with a powerful person or you yourself are a powerful person, as I consider myself to be. Sometimes it isn't always easy to bear the support of someone else or the situation or all of the things that constantly come up. Am I willing and strong enough to bear the weight of something? And if I'm not, it's my responsibility in our relationship to get myself in a place where I am strong enough to bear the weight of. Because I have high expectations. I've been around Grant Cardone for 17 years. We've been married for 16 years. And, I have learned so much from this man. He is a huge mentor to me. And every single time he puts on a boot camp or he does an event like this, I attend. I attend to educate myself. I also attend because, it brings us closer together and it's another way for us to get back on the same page. So the second definition of support is, I already said, bear the weight of. And if you are like me and put high demands on the person that you're with, then you better be strong enough to bear the weight of everything that comes with that. And number two, the definition of support that I love so much is show an active interest in the success of. That's what support is. Show the active interest in the success of. So when Grant and I first got married, I did not know this. I thought being married was really about, just basically a monogamous relationship, and we were going to live happily ever after, and the relationship kind of just handles itself. Like, I really didn't have a plan. No one told me about what a marriage is, etc. And it wasn't until 2008 when the economy collapsed and we were under a heavy lawsuit and certain things had us reboot or reset at that time that I had to really just start looking at the structure of our relationship. And so at that time, you have to be real and honest with yourself in order to accomplish greatness. And so if I were to be real and honest with myself at that time, which I was only thinking about myself. And I had always had the idea that I had to be this independent woman, never depend on a man, never depend on anyone for that matter. So I was operating in this relationship as this independent woman who didn't want to really support my man because I was only supporting myself, didn't really have all of this awareness going on to begin with, except for, Grant and I were working really hard for the first 5 years of our marriage, but we weren't really getting into these elevated levels of success. We were going kind of like this, working really hard and not making big enough gains. So it was at that point where I had to analyze, because everything had changed. Grant's world as he knew it was over. I was pregnant with our first child. I was an actress at the time. There was no like Hollywood studio people knocking on my door saying, hey, will you be the lead actress against Tom Cruise and we're going to pay you $20 million. It wasn't happening. I had to be real and honest. So I had to look at, okay, well, if I'm willing to trade in this acting career in order to trade up, what would that look like? What would be incentive enough to go all in on a person? Well, that's when I developed the idea of this whole empire builder thing. And I thought, well, what would I want my life to look like? So I did this whole projection thing. Like, what would we look like in 5 years, 10 years? How would we be able to be financially stable, not only for ourselves, but for our community and for the world, which seemed impossible at the time. It seemed like we were in a deficit and a negative. It seemed like Looney Tunes to be thinking like this at the time. But what would I have to do now in present time at that time in order to get there? And what were the actions that we needed to do? Number one was we had to have the same purpose. We had to get on the same page. Number two, how do we get on the same page? How do I move from independent woman to all in on a man? And how do we get on the same page in order to achieve heightened levels of success? That's when I became interested in heightened levels of success. You see, Grant is a very successful man. He was always going to be successful with or without me. He was successful before me. I have no doubt he would have been successful had he never laid eyes on me. That man knows a lot about a lot, no doubt about it. However, what if you could link up with a partner who actually supports you to help you achieve a heightened level of success and vice versa? And what would that look like? Would that look like 50-50 or would that look like 100%? And that interested me. That interested me. How could I help a man? Because I think the greatest act of love you can do for another person is to help them achieve their goals. It isn't for me proving your love by hand holding and turning off all electronics and proving that you love each other for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. That is not my version of love. My version of love is, can he help me achieve my goals, heightened levels of success? Can I help him achieve his heightened levels of success? And how do we work in a coordinated, collaborated effort together? Number one, you have to have your purpose. So we sat down in 2008 and said, where are we going? Who are we? Who are we as a couple? What do we represent? What is our core values? What is our mission? And we wrote it down. This didn't just blindly happen to us. This was a very focused, concerted effort toward success. So we wrote it all down. Where do we want to go? Who do we want to be? Our couple's goals. Then we had to look at our roles in that. Purpose, know your roles. And this isn't just with spouse. You can do this with a business partner. It just so happens that my area of expertise is the one that I speak from, which is this relationship. So know your roles. In 2008, I had to figure out what my role was. You see, the problem with Grant and I, the first 5 years of our marriage doing this, is that we didn't know who was the boss of what. So me being this strong, independent woman wanted to be the boss of all areas. And Grant, I mean, let's face it, the guy is also strong and powerful and is a boss. So you can understand why we'd go out and create all day and come home, and there could have been some conflict there with each of us vying for our role and power. So I had to figure out, well, who does what? How can we eliminate the distraction time from getting to our purpose by getting on the same page? We had to figure out who does what and deli it out, not male, female. It just so happens that in our relationship, it is more traditional that way. Because let's face it, not many people can compete. I don't care who you are, male or female, with Grant Cardone in the business arena. I'm sorry. I mean, let's just face it. Throw in the towel right now. I'm not dumb. Okay. I never went to college, but I am not dumb. I am able to see and know what's in front of me. Grant, you run the business. I will give you input. I will support you. I will never say, why don't you ever come home? How come you missed your child's birthday party 5 years in a row? Never going to hear from me. I support. I bear the weight of. I figure out how to solve problems. I figure out how we can work together because I know our roles. I'm the boss of the family. Everything under the household to who runs what is mine. I say who's around us, and he doesn't get to bypass me. He doesn't get to cross the line, and I can't cross the line with him in business, for example. So even though I might not like his decision, because he is who he is, I will always back him, even if he makes a mistake, because that happens every once in a while. No one doesn't make mistakes, but I'm not going to berate him and be like, oh my God. Okay, I also have to be able to bite my tongue and be, purpose. Okay, my purpose, heightened levels of success. I want to achieve our purpose. What is the greater good here? Is it me hammering, berating? And I'm not perfect. I've messed up. I'm not saying I am. But in an ideal situation, this is how I am. I'm saying, okay, how can I be more supportive so that we can get to the end goal easier, faster? Sometimes it means biting your tongue. Sometimes it means approaching things in a more artful way. So our purpose, knowing your roles, power. Also, you want me to end off? You want to come in?
Great.
Okay. So I want to just say this, this also, because I brought up relationships. It's also very important to understand what a relationship is. Are y'all digging this? I'm reading now. I'm doing two things at once. And I'm going to tell y'all, before I tell you what the definition of relationships are, I'm going to make a very big, oh yeah, you are. I'm going to let you in on some behind the scenes. Okay. Behind the scenes. So Grant always makes fun of me because I over prepare and I want to deliver 10 million things. And he's always like, Elena, just go in with one thing and go deep. And every single time I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to him. And I get live and I never listen to him. And I try to cover everything because I try to tell you everything all at once. And one thing when talking about, I'm going to tell you a little behind the story and then we're going to get back on relationships. But I just finished my first ever. Sherry was there. She's a rock star. I love this woman. I just delivered my very first Build an Empire mastermind. We had 50 girls here in Miami. It was incredible. But Grant tells me this, and he's still, he's constantly like a mentor to me, even when I don't always ask for it. However, he's rarely wrong. I will tell you that because he's not in the room and I don't think he's hearing me right now. But I do this mastermind and Grant says, you know what you're going to do with your workbook? You're going to overdo the workbook because you're not going to think you have enough content to speak for 2 days. Every newbie makes this mistake. You're going to overdo the workbook. I was like, nope, I'm just doing exactly what it's going to be. Well, I did the whole workbook online. We were out of town. So proud of myself. I get home. I get out of the elevator. We arrive home from our trip. And this was my workbook. And it was sitting on the bar. And it's like this thick. And I had to hide the workbook because I didn't want Grant to see that I had made the newbie mistake. But anyway, I did get through it all. But this is an incredible book. And that was an incredible experience. Relationships.
Your husband.
The voice of God. Is that it? Relationships. Okay. Relationships, the definition, the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected. The state of being connected. So in relationships, how do you relate? What is the relationship with your friends, with your mentors, with your family, with your children? What is the relationship? So I was talking about roles. It's very important to know your roles. Let me open this to this. Hold on. Roles. Okay. How many roles do you have in your life? Have you even looked at that? Okay, so the role is the position assumed or assigned that each person plays in that organization. So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a Bay mastermind leader. So right now we are students. The description of a student is an attention or systematic observer dedicated to the learning for the purpose of being able to apply data to attain the appropriate level of mastery. So this doesn't just happen. Like life doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. Grant and I made this happen. We made this happen by becoming students ourselves, investing time and money in ourselves, learning, growing together, figuring out how to do it together. How can we apply this to life to help each other reach heightened levels of success? How to get out of each other's way so that we could chunk up to the next.
Perfect jumping off place, Elena, for the student piece.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about, and Jared, I think we got.
Turn the volume down just a little bit.
Take the volume down. I'll be your student anytime, baby. So look, guys, grantcardone.com/virtual. Come be a student. Come be a student for 3 days.
It doesn't just happen. It does take time and energy. Every person that I've heard speak here invested time, energy, and most of the time also finances to get where they want to be. It's not just cross your fingers and make it work.
How awesome is Elena, huh? Is she the best? Okay, is she the best? And Elena, I just want to ask you one quick question.
Yeah.
We're going to bring Pete up. Pete's traveling, trying to get in and out. So these plateaus, guys, when I draw this out, I know exactly what dates these are. Am I hot, guys? I know what dates these are. I know where these are in our life. I know Elena's with me, by the way. Okay, this is pre-Elena, and Elena comes in. And we got married and we actually flattened out. We got married and got consumed with the bliss of marriage and forgot to plan, well, what are we doing in the marriage? So I always say, man, liabilities become
assets
and assets become liabilities. It's not one, like they all happen. It doesn't, you can have a Range Rover out there with full air and all the tires. Sooner or later, it's going to go flat and it's going to become a liability. It could be a brand new car today, great asset, paid for. It can become a liability tomorrow. So that happened. Our marriage became an asset. Then it became a liability because we weren't paying attention to the troubles and problems and conflicts, challenges, lawsuits, and we hadn't scaled enough because we were so in love. We were so in love. We weren't scaling the business. We were satisfied where we were at. It was one of those flat spots. And 2008 actually woke us up. Maybe this COVID woke you up. Hey, you're not safe. And by the way, a mask ain't going to save you. 6 feet away ain't going to save you. You need money. You need expansion. You need the things that everybody's been talking about, not just for today, but the last 14 days. Come join us. She will be there. grantcardone.com/virtual. We've had people pay $12,500 to come sit in this program for 3 days. They're going to travel down here, spend $12,500, okay? Plus hotel, plus airfare, plus food, etc. You can come today, $497, put it on a credit card, borrow the money for your mama, whatever you got to do to get there. $497 gets you 3 days with us down here. All the material you've heard today in a lifetime recording, all the extras that we've offered you from the other speakers that are so generous because they want to help you 10X. And also you get a VIP, not a VIP, but you get an executive level ticket to our 10X growth conference. That is the premier 3-day event on planet Earth, but it's different than our boot camp. So you've been to, how many boot camps have you been to?
All but one.
She's been to them in London, Australia, California, here. It's a deep dive on money, marketing, sales, revenue collection, scaling your business. Okay.
It's my personal favorite.
Yeah, it is her favorite
It's
because
my personal
it's
favorite.
strategy. The 10X Growth Conference is really big. Like, oh my God, that's Kevin Hart talking about business and money. Okay. So it's really inspirational, more inspirational. And our boot camp is, you're not walking out with inspiration or education. You're walking out with how to do it. Okay. We've made the price right. We're going to bring it to your phone, your computer, your tablet, whatever. Just give me 3 days. Give me 3 days. You want to go to $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion? You want to scale your business to 100 employees? You want to go from 0 to 10? You want to go from poverty to a job, a post? You want to be irreplaceable at the company you work at? Give me 3 days. Okay, I'll do the rest. You just give me the 3 days. Put a do not disturb on your door. Look, you can't figure that out. You can't give me 3 days. Promise you. It's like a man told me when I was 25. Bro, you can't figure this out. How are you going to figure out your dreams, or getting the right girl, or being a husband, or being a good example for the kids?
Well,
So-
I love that you support so many people. You show active interest in the success of others. Like, that truly is your passion and your heart and your life's work and mission. And it's what makes it easy for me to support you, to bear the weight of everything that goes on in our lives, because ultimately that is our purpose. We want to help others. We want to all rise up together. So anyone that supports you and vice versa, it's that interaction of the relationship. That's what interests me and us.
Yeah. And if you guys notice, when we go places, like, we always go out and meet people. Like, we love people. We're both extremely social people. We've always liked meeting people, hanging around people. We don't like just being good, bad, or indifferent. You're like, yeah, we like each other. We love being around each other, but we like the action of other people, their stories, their problems, their challenges. We love that. So please let us be part of your lives, and please be part of our lives. Okay. And we want to do more than just take selfies with you. We want to help you, help yourself, help your business, help your people, and be a good example in your community. Okay. Everybody, give a lot of love to Elena right
Thank
here.
you
Okay.
all for all the comments. You guys are amazing.
Elena's
Thank you
the
for
best.
having me on. And I look forward to being an attendee at the virtual boot camp.
She will be there.
Yes,
she will
I
be
will.
there. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, what a great day. Okay. I always love hearing my wife. I actually listen to her more when she does this than I do when I'm at the house sometimes. She's like, you're not listening to me. I said, I know, I'm doing something else. I'm working on this real estate deal right now. Okay. Big, super congrats, by the way. Super congratulations to Sarma, Alexis, Priscilla.